Three, two, one. What's going on with Instagram? Like, why is this so? It's not. Damn, I might have to cut it from the. This is crazy. Anyway, all right. Hey guys, this is Bruce. Welcome to Convocourses Podcast. Every week we talk about cybersecurity, specifically information security. Um, we're talking about governance, risk, and compliance. That's my specialty. I've done many different aspects of cybersecurity over the years, from cybersecurity analyst work to risk management framework to PCI DSS to ISO 27001. That's really my specialty is compliance, governance, risk, and compliance. And if you didn't know anything about it, briefly, I could explain it. So it's a branch of cybersecurity where you're mostly helping an organization get in line with different laws and regulations that are in their industry. Retail is an industry, financial sector is an industry, government is an industry, healthcare is an industry. Each one of these industries have certain rules and regulations that they have to abide by. A good example of this would be like HIPAA. That's for the healthcare organizations, and they need to comply with protecting healthcare patient information. So I'm the type of dude that they would hire to come in and say, okay, how can we make our policies better? What are we doing wrong? How can we? Could you be a part of our vulnerability management? Are we doing that correctly? Can you help us to assess certain areas of our system? So those are kinds of things. And right now, I'm working directly with the government. I'm a contractor for the government, and I'm what's called an information system security officer, and we help with compliance of government systems, so that they make sure that they hit all their marks with regulations that are passed down from the government. So that's what I do, and that's what I teach people how to get into. And wherever you are, whether you're an IT person, whether you're starting from absolute scratch, I can tell you a path to get there. This has a very high. There's a cost that comes with getting into this field. It's not instantaneous. It's not a get rich quick scheme by any stretch of the imagination. You're talking about something that once you get in, you're very stable, but there is a it's not for everybody. Let me just put it to you that way. It's really not for everybody. But if you think that this might be something you want to dip your toe in, I can tell you the truth about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this field. Because just because there's no mathematics and programming in it doesn't mean it's not hard. Because it can be. The challenge is not technical. The challenge is dealing with people in this part of cybersecurity. The challenge is really being patient and empathetic for not only the customer, but your peers and upper level management and things like, because you have to deal with all aspects of the organization. Unlike if you're a firewall guy or if you are a cybersecurity analyst or something like that, where all they're doing is staring at a screen, and they have to be technical enough, tech savvy enough to realize what patterns are coming through on the network and what security incidents are happening. They got to know TCP/IP and maybe packet analysis and things like that. Like, I don't need to know all that stuff, right? It's helpful if I do. Like, I do know some of it, but it's more important for me to have a basic understanding of the IT fundamentals. Don't get me wrong. I do need to understand something, but in this position, it's more important that I am really good with speaking, with communication, on all levels of the organization. That's the most important piece. That's in communication in writing, technical writing, a little bit of that, communication in meetings, being able to articulate to a C-level exec all the way to a regular user. I need to be able to speak to all of them. It is the most important part of GRC. So that's the biggest challenge. And you're dealing with people's different attitudes, and you've got to be patient enough. Sometimes I'll get in a meeting, I'll just get ripped apart, right? I just get ripped apart like it's nothing, because I'm not I'm not super deep in technical, so they'll rip me apart on that, or I'll be in with a C-level exec, and if I don't know, if I don't, I'm on not on my P's and Q's, I can get ripped apart on that. It's about having patience and a high pain threshold, I'd say, because a lot of my technical peers and friends who've been doing this a long time, who are very, very brilliant IT specialists, they don't want to do this because it takes a certain level of emotional intelligence to deal with different parts of the organization and different attitudes. And that's really the biggest challenge to this field. You do need to have a strong understanding of IT fundamentals so that you can understand where security, what's going on with security. And a good example of that is this recent hack that happened. It's not even a hack. This recent thing that happened with all the airports, a lot of the airports being down, and the healthcare system being down. My organization was affected by it. We had some issue with right now with our payment system. Our timekeeping system was based off of a Windows system. So me being a governance, risk, and compliance person, I'm not savvy enough to go in there and fix whatever's the problem, but I'm savvy enough to know what happened. When I'm reading through articles or reading through what's happening, I I understand what happened, and I can explain to you in a very simple way what happened with that. So what's happening is, first of all, not all systems are affected. If you're on anybody's using Mac OS or Linux, not affected. Windows, cloud-based Windows systems are affected. Azure specifically, cloud-based systems are affected, and it's really not the actual Windows system. It's something they use called CloudStrike. And CloudStrike is an agent that monitors and manages security. It's monitoring what kind of packets are coming through. It's looking for patterns, security patterns. It's a very important thing to have for malware detection. It's a malware detection tool, but like a high level malware protection tool. So what happened was they had a bug in the agent that sits on Microsoft Azure systems, and that bug uh, that bug actually shut the systems down. Like they can't. It's a configuration issue, and it's what's really bad about it is that the people who have this issue, they got to go reboot the system in safe mode, make a system configuration that's in the like system 32, which is the like a very critical part of the operating system. They got to go in there, they got to change things around, and then reboot the system, and then it's fixed, which is a pain in the ass. If you are the airline IT guys, are going to have to stay up all night over the week. They're probably working right now. Healthcare, every industry was affected all over the world. So it wasn't a hack. It was just a misconfiguration. And where the failure, and there's the failure here. There's a big lesson to learn here. The failure in all of it was essentially what's supposed to happen is that whenever you have a major update, a major configuration change, you're supposed to have it in a testing environment first to see if it'll break anything. And then once you know, okay, we're good, then you can put it in a production, and you can put it into production. That's what's supposed to happen. Anybody who didn't do that and just kind of ported it out there, it's like, oh yeah, it's CloudStrike. We can trust them. Boom, put it out there in production. They're getting their stuff is shutting down. That's what's happening. So it's a GRC issue. So it's GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. It's the risk part that's affected, because the reason why you put your system in a testing environment is to manage the risk to putting random stuff on your network, random changes on your so people miss. I think what happened was people understandably thought it was a minor change, because the thing is, CloudStrike is a little agent that sits on your computer. It's just in the background, so people don't even think about it. Organizations don't think about it. It just runs in the background. It gives you all the good information about what's going on your system from a security standpoint, and you don't have to mess with it. So whenever you think about an agent sitting on your system, whether it's something that's looking through logs, or it's something that's looking through um, strange anomalies on your network, or if it's whatever, like it's a little agent running in the background, you don't really think nothing of it. And you have a little update or a change or something, you don't even think about it. We don't think about it. But this one, the place that it sits at is right on the kernel. It sits in a place that was that was capable of disabling the primary functions of many organizations that use it. So so I bet you from now on they'll be testing that thing. They'll put that in a testing environment. So like, okay, let's fix this. CrowdStrike's stocks are plummeting right now, and that's what's happening. It wasn't a hack, thank goodness. But if it was a hack, oh my lord, that would have been a real successful hack. Okay, let me get into some questions here. This one is all about. This one's all about you guys. Whatever help you guys want, that's what we're gonna focus on. And I'm getting some comments here. Let me start with the TikTok one. So those ones came in first. And like I said, you guys have any questions or something? I've been doing this a long time, so I can help you out to get in this field, or any questions you have. I don't know everything, but the people who follow me, they do. Let me see. Dot says, I have the Security Plus certification. I just don't have any work experience. I do home labs, but that's all. So this is one I get every single week. Every single week I get this same dilemma about somebody who has a certification or even have a degree, but they don't have experience. And once you get into this field, you realize experience is the most important thing. And really, they're not, when you get in an interview, they're not really going to ask you about your Security Plus. They're not really going to ask you about your degree. Um, they'll say, "Do you have it?" And then after that, it's on to the next questions. They want to know what experience you have. What can you do? And if you don't have any experience, you're trying to get your first job. What I would do, looking back on all my years of experience, what I did when I did it, I went into the military, and so the military gave me um, that first experience that I had. If I did not have that background in the military, what I would do in this environment right now is I would look in the local area for work that I could do that's IT related. I would look for organizations. Don't be limited to. Don't limit yourself to organizations you're at, like whether you're at university or you have a university or community college near you, or don't limit yourself to the organizations you attend, but stretch yourself out to the local area. Look for help desk, things that you can do, and either volunteer time or apply for jobs or something. You want to get that first experience under your belt, and it doesn't matter what it is as long as it's hands on and it's technical, and you put that on your resume, and it's going to reflect what you've done. What skin you have in the game is based off of your experience. Another thing that I would highly encourage you to do is go join an organization called the ISSA. What that is the Information System Security Association. Every major city has one. There might be one near you. There's mentors there. They entertain vendors. They have job fairs. They have job openings. A lot of different companies and organizations from around the local area will come together, and they break bread. So literally they're like eating sometimes, and they're listening to the vendors that are trying to kind of do B2B stuff like that. But they're also hiring people sometimes. I think some of them have like a fee, like an annual fee or a monthly fee or something that you might have to do. But I know the one I have locally, they would allow you to come in for the first time for free to check it out. But it's a great way to network with other people who are in this industry, like-minded people. Um, if Another thing you can do is look for job fairs in your area. There's IT job fairs all over the place, especially like in the East Coast. East Coast has tons of them. East Coast is a hot spot for information technology jobs, that's for sure, especially government contracting, government type jobs is a hot spot. Look for local jobs, and don't be too proud to take a job that's a field tech one or customer service where you're answering phones, fielding problems and stuff like that. Don't be, but all you're trying to do at this point is get some experienced skin in the game. Another thing you can do if none of those are an option, last case scenario is be a freelance worker and do stuff around your area as a freelance, start a business, like a little sole proprietorship, and then start hooking up people's net. If you have a security plus, if you have a home lab, if you've been doing this, you know how to set up a network, you know how to fix a computer, you know how to remove viruses. Make yourself a freelancer and go around and fix people's computer and put that on your resume. Like, you need to get some experience, skin in the game. Um, and that's how you start. That's how you get your foot in the door. And then after that, once you get that experience on your resume, whether it's freelance work or you go into the military or you volunteer at schools or you happen to be in a school and you volunteer time as a working student or you become an intern or whatever the case may be, once you get that on your resume, you need to market the hell out of yourself. I'm only telling you what I've done and what I've seen some of my peers do to get in this field, because there is a curve here, and I understand it's like a chicken and the egg thing where you're new to this, you want to get in, you see how lucrative it is, your cousin, your brother, your uncle is already in it, your sister, whoever, they're already in this, and they're not worried about money. They're good. You see how solid it is. You see it pays well. It doesn't matter who's elected. It doesn't matter what the economy looks like. It doesn't matter. We always need people in IT, and that's why it's you want to get in this, but you can do it. You absolutely. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out. I'm not proud to say that. It's embarrassing. They told me to stay in and I didn't. I dropped out. But I'm making six figures. I work from home, and I'm not telling you this to brag by any stretch of the six figures is not a lot of money. I come to find when you make it, it's just not that much money, to be honest with you. It's just not that much money. But that's I remember looking up at six figures thinking it was impossible, but I'm telling you, if I can do it, man, you can do it too. I come from nothing. I come from a soup. I probably don't look like it or sound like it, but I come from the roughest background you can imagine. Like, I saw some horrible shit as a kid, as a child, that when I look back, I'm like, damn. People tell their stories online, and my story is so much worse. It's so much worse, and it's crazy that I came from all that. But if I can do it, you can do it too. There's no excuses. But I think the first step is to believe that it is possible. Because when I look back, the biggest block in my way was I didn't believe six figures was possible. I know that sounds crazy, but I did not believe. It just didn't feel real to me. It was now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's not even that big of a deal. It's not even that big of a deal. But back then it just felt, I just didn't even know anybody who made that much. It was stuff I saw on TV, so you can do it. The first step is to believe that it's possible. It's my first time to come to your live, and I want to become a cybersecurity. You come to the right place. Okay, let me see. I got some folks here on YouTube. Caught my live stream. Bruce, is this to do with CrowdStrike? Yeah, I talked a little bit about that. Okay, let me see. I got some more questions here. Somebody said, whoops. Okay, my bad. Jada says, how do you perceive the current integration with STEM and cyber education for prep in cyber roles? STEM, for those of you who don't know, is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and cyber education. So, let me see. From my perspective, from the inside, from a person who's on the inside, I assume your focus is to get one of these roles as a cybersecurity person. So from the inside, I can tell you this: if you have a STEM degree, they will take it. Contracting organizations who work with the government, who are multi-billion dollar companies, are looking for people with a STEM. They'll take a person with a STEM degree. Fortune 5,000, Fortune 1,000, all these companies I've worked for, I had peers working side by side. I have an IT degree. I have a bachelor's degree in information technology, but I worked side by side with people who had math degrees. I worked side by side with people who had science degrees. On the weirder side, I had people who, one guy was a PhD in Egyptology. You know, I mean, one guy had, oh man, there's all kinds, literary arts. One guy was formerly a chef. I mean, the most important thing, I'll get to your degree in a second. The most important thing is that you have experience. That said, while you're in your degree, let's say you are a biochemist, and you're like, man, I want to do IT when I get out because that shit is hot. I want to do cloud technology. What you need to do right now, regardless of your major, is to get experience while you're in school. What do I think about the STEM integration with cyber education? It's fucking awesome. That's great. Any kind of STEM, I think, should include some kind of computer data analyst work, artificial intelligence, like, because that's where everything's going. All technical engineering stuff is all going in that direction. You're gonna have to use a computer if you're doing any kind of engineering. So you absolutely should know as much as about computers as possible. The more you know, the better. The more you know how to program. I don't know how to program. Like I'm self-taught as a programmer, and I learned Swift, and I could not tell you off the top of my head how to do it. I can't even remember HTML. I have to Google HTML, right? I know it sounds dumb as hell, and I make six figures and I work from home, but I'm just telling you the fucking truth. I have to Google how to do a link every time because I just don't do it every day. You know what I'm saying? So I don't remember. I mean, I can work my way through it. I know how it works, and when something breaks, I know how to fix it and all that kind of stuff. But my point is, the more you know about programming, the more you know about scripting, the more you know about how operating systems work, the more you know how networks work, the more you know cloud technology, the more you know, the better. And really, hands-on is the sweet spot. That's exactly what employers want from you. When they do the interview, they're going to ask you about your actual experience. So what I'm telling you is, if you happen to be in school, if you have any STEM degree, whatever kind of degree you have, and you're trying to switch into IT, information technology, not specifically cloud or specifically any kind of risk management framework or any kind of specific, I'm saying IT in general, get any kind of hands-on IT experience you can, from working as a working student in your school to being a freelancer to projects and to writing programs if you happen to know how to do it, writing programs and putting it on GitHub. They want to know what you have done. What skin do you have in the game? What do you know how to do? Can you hit the ground running when you come in here? Do you have an analytical mind? Do you have the patience to deal with systems? That's really the best thing that hands-on work and getting a degree gives you, is that patience and being able to communicate in written form and speaking on these technical topics. So I think it's great that they're integrating those things together. And the more you know about cyber, the better. Where should I start from as a beginner? Start where you are. Wherever, and let me explain. If you happen to be in sanitation engineering, you're trash, you pick up trash. They have an IT department. Learn, like, where, okay, how do we have it? Do we have a network here? Where's our IT guys at? Do they have a career path for me, a sanitation engineer, to go into IT? How do we communicate with Central? How do we learn, start where you are, wherever you happen to be working, find the IT department, look at the infrastructure of your IT, see how you can get involved. If there's any way, you'd be surprised. I was surprised. In the military, I was a grunt. I was a weapons specialist. I was a what was called a security police officer in the Air Force. Had the beret and everything, learned to shoot. Like I was at the time, we were working with the Army and Marines and all that kind of stuff. And that wasn't something I wanted to do. It was something I was surprised I could do. But I was a nerd ass geek. I my favorite spot was the library. I was always reading. I was a bookworm. I treasure my library card. I was a fucking nerd, and I was proud. I loved it. I mean, I hated it and loved it because they would tease me and shit about it. But that's just who I was. I learned to embrace it. But then I went into the Air Force, and I was a grunt. I was carrying a weapon. I was learning how to shoot guns. What the hell was I doing there? But I was good at it. But it's not something I wanted to do, and I know I didn't want to do it on the outside. So I was surprised when I was able to cross train, is what we called it in the Air Force, from being a grunt, being a police officer and a military police officer, into IT in the Air Force. Wherever you happen to be, the beginning is there. You got to find the IT department there. I found it in the Air Force. And they told me, my boss at the time, my supervisor, sergeant at the time, um, he told me that it wasn't possible. He said, no, you can't cross train from being a cop to doing IT. And I said, why? It's in the program. We can cross train as long as I re up. I do another 4 years. I heard that that's what was possible. He said, no, you can't, because he said we need police officers. There's a shortage. Like, you can't. I was like, all right, damn. I felt down and stuff, and then I went and asked somebody who actually knew better. I went somewhere on the base where they specialized in support. They had a support. It was called mission support at the time. Um, Something like, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a department on base that would help people to transition from one job to another. And so I went there and I asked them. I said, "Look, I'm a police officer, and I'm in security forces. I'm a 3P OX1, and I want to do something else. I wanted computers is what I really." He said, "Yeah, sure." He brought me this big book, started going through it, and there are all kinds of jobs. He said, "Yeah, you can." I said, "I thought I couldn't cross train because they said my boss told me that we're low manned as security police. I thought we weren't allowed to cross train." He says, "Yeah, that's true." He said, "But there's other departments that need you more. They're even lower manned." I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah. You said you want computers, right?" You start looking through. It's like, "Yeah, look, this one right here has lower manning than the police officers, like than security forces. So you can go into this one." I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." So yeah, that's in our question. Wherever you happen to be, sanitation engineer, retail, healthcare, finance sector, whatever you happen to be doing, they have an IT department. See if you can do a lateral change to get into that office. Now, if you happen to be in school, wherever you happen to be, we happen to be in school, whether it's high school, college, whatever, you can start. You're even in a better position, because what you could do is, if you're in college, they have working student programs, they have internships, they have apprenticeships. I would do that. I would do that immediately. I would not start when you get that paper in your hand, because that experience that you can get in school, all the networking you do, meeting people, asking them questions about where they work, what their plans are, if they know anybody who's in IT, and then actually doing it yourself, that's way more valuable than that piece of paper. I'm telling you, because if you can get that experience, that is what employers are looking for. If you're in high school, you can be doing projects. You should be prepping yourself to go into college. If I was in high school, I'd be I wouldn't be worried so much about the actual certifications yet. I would be trying to get experience. I'd be learning hacking. I'd be learning the code. I'd be learning as much as I could about IT, so that I could start leveling up and do projects, start a freelance business, do like as a high schooler. There's so many opportunities. Learn as much AI as you can. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. So you right now is when you need to start, and start where you are. What are areas of cybersecurity I could transition into as a ETL dev, data migration dev in healthcare? You said the magic word, healthcare. Healthcare, there's certain sectors and industries that lend themselves to transitioning into cybersecurity. And one of the biggest ones is healthcare. Healthcare, off the top of my head, financial sector, those are two of the biggest. That they don't have enough people who know that industry. They're looking for people, like if you could be a nurse or something, like if you know that industry, you know that industry more than I do. You're in the healthcare industry and you're doing anything with data at all. There's something called HIPAA, and that program, HIPAA, is a regulation. It's a regulation that allows organizations who are involved with healthcare, with any kind of healthcare, whatever. So it could be pharmacy, it could be emergency services, whatever it is. They have to protect citizens, you and I's information. Our patient information has to be protected, whether it's in digital form or physical form. Whatever it is, it has to be protected. And HIPAA is a rule and regulation that is mandated from the government. Every healthcare organization needs to cover. And so you could actually do something here. Let me show you. Let me show you my screen here. And I'll walk you through one of the things that the direction you can go with healthcare. I get this question a lot from healthcare people. I think it's because healthcare is such a hard industry, and so I get some nurses and CNAs who contact me about how to break into this field, and I could show you one direction I would go if I were you. It's a golden opportunity that is not going to last forever, but there's an IT certification that you would fit perfectly in. So let me show you. I'll read it through to those who are listening or can't see my screen on YouTube. So I just went to. I'm showing on my screen a certification from the ISC2 squared. So ISC2 squared are the guys who do they do the GCR, the CGRC certification for governance, risk, and compliance, and then they also do another one called the CISSP, which is one of the highest, most highly regarded golden standard of cybersecurity certificates. Whether it deserves that or not, I don't know. That's a whole nother topic, but it's highly regarded. And so they have another certification that they just created maybe 3-4 years ago called the HCISPP. And it's very quickly becoming a standard. It's very quickly becoming very well known, especially in the healthcare sector. And it stands for Healthcare Information Security and Privacy Practitioner. And let me show you what it covers. So if I were you, I would get this certification. You're already in healthcare, you're already an IT person. This right here would level you right up into governance, risk, and compliance, which pays way better than whatever the hell you're doing. I can almost guarantee it. I can almost guarantee you, whatever the hell you happen to be doing right now, this right here, at the very least, even if it doesn't, it'll open up more doors for you. So here's the things that they cover. It covers domain one, healthcare industry. You already know that. The next one is information governance in healthcare. How do they manage the information technology within healthcare systems? I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that. Information technology in healthcare. What kinds of IT do they use for like medical tools and stuff? You're literally using those. Regulations and standards. Domain 4, regulations and standards for the environment. HIPAA, basically. Privacy. Domain 5, privacy and security in healthcare. HIPAA. Risk management and risk assessments in healthcare. And domain 7, the last one, third party risk management. These are the things that you're gonna have to master and learn. And then once you can put that on your resume, it's gonna allow you to be able to articulate more effectively, explain what you have done for risk management, because you've already done risk management. That's the magic of this. If you've done any IT whatsoever, you're way ahead of the curve. You just got to know how to market yourself to open up the horizon for all the other things that you can do in whatever industry you happen to be in. Because there's a lot We really need people. I cannot stress this enough. We really need every job for the last 7 years I've been in. They're putting too many hats on us. They're putting too many hats on us. They're making us do too many things at once. We're having to do vulnerability management and risk management, and we're having to do look at logs. They're having us do everything. Like you get in and they're like, okay, by the way, not only are you going to do write policies and do the system security plan, but we're going to have you also look at the logs. We're going to also have, oh, can you fix this thing here? Fix this thing here. I've had that happen for the last 7 years. We just need more people. And they're not just hiring just anybody. You actually have to be able to hit the ground running. You have to be able to do this thing. And that's the learning curve. Right. And so this right here, for somebody in your position, you already do IT in healthcare. If you were to get into master HIPAA, which you probably already know how to, you already have it, and get this certification under your belt, that's what I would do if I were you. You position yourself right, you'll get a whole bunch of different opportunities. I can guarantee you that. If you were able to go through these domains, this is the stuff that this industry is looking for. They want somebody who can put the information security in their system so that they can be compliant with the regulations of that industry. They're looking for somebody who can do that. And not just in healthcare, but in all retail, in government, in all sectors and industries. Okay, let me see. I got some more questions here. This one's all about you guys. Whatever you guys need me to talk about, I'm completely open to it. Let me see. Liquid death. Rex Banner says, "Hey Bruce, hope you're well." I'm doing okay. A lot better today. It's been kind of under the weather yesterday. When you're done, curious if you could. Oh, okay, that's another topic. Curious whether your friend got a date. I haven't really checked up on it recently, but I'm waiting for somebody to email me about that. I was trying to hook up a friend with the date, somebody I know, on another channel. Neither here nor there. Okay, anyway, Vince Fury says, I just got my certified in cybersecurity certification and getting my Security Plus in September, trying to figure out how to get my foot in the door. GRC is my biggest interest. So if I knew exactly where you worked, what industry you're in and what's your background, I could help you out, Vincent. I could help you. I could guide you in the right direction. Dylan Green says, just got into cybersecurity compliance, managing the controlled deliverables for NIST special publication 853. This is exactly my job. This is what I do. What Dylan Green does is exactly what I do right now for the government. And it pays very well. It's lots of job offers, like opportunities all the time popping up, because there's not enough people doing what we do. And the greatest thing about it is that it eliminates a lot of the competition, because the learning curve is pretty high, and there's not many people who even want to do it. Even a lot of IT professionals don't want to do this type of work because it just takes a lot emotionally to do it. You got to deal with humans. And Dylan says, we had to dry load our servers and remove the sys files. Oh, he's talking about the CrowdStrike. Damn. Yeah, we're having the same issue right now. We're having a couple things down. He says it was a grueling 9.5 hours yesterday. Slow rollout. Man, it's crazy. Man, CrowdStrike, man. Kernel drivers that required to boot to take place. File was entirely no bytes. Yeah, I have no idea what you're saying, brother, but I believe you. Jake Matthews says, any advice on industry certs for getting into red teaming? I have the basics. Okay, Jake, Yeah. Okay, I got some advice. And he says thoughts on EJPT, OSCP, and CEH. Yes. So for everybody, let me just explain what he's asking here. So red teaming is pen testing, basically. Pen testing, also known as ethical hacking. I don't know what term is popular now for it, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's like an organization has a network and they want somebody to test whether or not a criminal hacker would be able to get into their network from the outside, right? So they'll do things like footprinting, which is like doing an outside scan of the network to see what IPs are there and see if it reveals any information. They'll gather as much information as they can from host names on the systems to more IPs to internal IPs to information, publicly available information. They'll even pull that. Like they figure out what is going on with this organization. Where are their weaknesses? What are the names? What's the CEO's name? What's the, it's, they figure out as much as information as possible. They gather all this information gathering, like the first step. Then what they do is figure out, now that we have this information, what can I do to get in there? I have emails that were publicly available. I have names of the CEO. I have names of the IT manager. What if I was to do a spoof of an email that looks like it came from within the organization, and I'll send it to 4 or 5 different people in the company to see if I can get them to click on a link. I'll make a link that's attached to a server that has malware and see if I can do some phishing. And so they'll do all these different techniques. They'll do scans of the network, see what ports are open. They'll do all kinds of different techniques to see where they can get in. And 9 times out of 10, they'll find some way to get a little bit in the door, sometimes way in the door, and even get admin passwords and do all kinds of damage and all kinds of crazy stuff. So that is red teaming. They're trying to figure out like where are the holes. It's kind of like if you've ever made a bowl. You make a bowl out of ceramic or something, and you want it to be able to hold water. You pour water in it, see if any holes, any leaks in that, or if you had a tire. I remember back in the day, if you had a flat tire on your bike, and one of the things that you would do is you have air in it, and then you put it in a bucket to see if any air is coming out, like you see the bubbles coming out. That's like pen testing. You're trying to see like where the holes are in the network and using different methods to figure that out. And whenever there's holes, you find different holes, whether it's like we were able to get in because we did a phishing attack, or we were able to get into this port that's open on the DMZ, or there was a website that was unprotected, and we were able to mess with that. Wherever it is, now you do a report, you send that forward, and then they fix it. That's pen testing. Red teaming is another name for it. But anyway, so now we're way off of a whole different thing there. So let me show you. If you want to walk with me on how you figure out like which ones to get, and kind of give you ideas on tools and do assessments on not just pen testing. We're going to focus on pen testing, but any kind of industry in IT. So go to Google or Bing, and then you're going to type in security certification progress. I showed this like last week. It's a really cool site, and there's many other methods you can use for this. But so you go to Google or Bing or whatever search engine you want. You'll type in security progress, and it's going to take you to pauljeremys.com site. And you're going to see a bunch of certifications that offer you a roadmap on which certifications to take. So let's look at, we've got many different ones. We've got communication and network. We got IAM. We've got security architecture and engineering. We've got security assessment testing. We've got security operations. We've got all these different paths you can take as a cybersecurity person. The one we're interested in is hacking. So at the very top of the list, you'll see expert level certifications. Now, obviously, these certifications, if you get any of these, you are officially the shit. You are OTS, as we used to say in the Air Force. The very top expert level, not everybody can get these. Like I've only met like 2 or 3 people who have these certifications, like the CCIE, maybe 2 or 3 people in my entire life that I met who had this, because it's very difficult to get. It's very expensive. It's very hard to get this certification. But we're talking about exploitation. So at the very left or right part of this screen that I'm showing here, we have exploitation and pen testing certifications. They're all in red. At the very top, you have something called the OSEE, which I don't even know what that is. Let me see. OSEE. I know it's a hacking certification that's above. I know it's from, I think it's from offensive security. OffSec security. I think this is their high level certification. Yeah, it is. Okay. So the OSEE is an advanced Windows exploitation certification. And this is one of the highest levels. It's a 72-hour exam. It's a live training, student instructor interaction. And it is a very, very difficult certification where you actually have to hack for real to get the certification. That's the highest one on the map. So he asked about OSCP. Let's look for that one real quick. It's on here somewhere. There it is. OSCP is right below the expert level, right between expert level and intermediate. I would say it's an intermediate certification, but I've heard this one's pretty hard, and it costs about $1,400 for the lab. I don't think it's refundable. So if you fail it, you lost $1,500, because actually it's $1,499. It's made from the same organization that does the OSEE, which is offensive security. They're the guys who do Kali Linux, and they used to have, they used to be called Backtrack back in the day. These guys are the top of their game with red teaming and stuff. So this right here is one of the best certifications you can get. And this one's called the OSCP, or the Offensive Security Certified Professional, and it is a high level certification. So that is one of the top certifications you can get as a red teamer. There's other certifications, but people know what this one is. Now you also mentioned something called the CEH, and CEH, I believe, is considered it's not quite entry level certification, but where is it? Where is the CEH? The CEH is a highly marketable certification because everybody knows what it is. CEH stands for Certified Ethical Hacker. It's been around for a very long time. I remember when it first came out and people hated it. It had all kinds of controversy. I didn't even know if it was going to last. I thought it was very exciting, but I just didn't know with all the stuff surrounding it if it was going to last. And it has. It's survived the test of time, and it's highly marketable, and I can't find it on this list, but I know it is. I'm just not seeing it. Not seeing it because I'm freaking blind as a bat. Man, old age is crazy on your eyes, man. I'm telling you. Let me see. I still can't find it. This is amazing. It's on here somewhere. Somebody probably is looking right at it, and I am lost on this thing. Okay, let me see. Let me just use logic here. Starting from the bottom, you got Pentest Plus, which is a beginner level certification. That's from CompTIA. CompTIA. That's the guys who give you Security Plus and A Plus and all of those. CEH is that a professional level cert? What the hell? Really? I'm not seeing it on here. I know they don't have it on expert level. Did they remove it? Oh, there it is. Oh my lord, man, I cannot see. Wow, it's increased in price. This thing, I remember this thing was like $600. Now it's $1,199. Man. Anyway, it's considered between beginner and intermediate. So it's a lower level hacker certification, but it's very well known. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like the Security Plus, in that people know what it is. It's respected. in the HR department because they know what it is. Among hackers, they don't really care about it. They talk mad shit about it. Those are the top ones. CEH, as far as marketability, CEH, OSCP are the main ones. I wouldn't even put OSEE on this list because that's for freaking uh, god tier badasses. Yeah, those are good certifications. And the basics, that's great. Now you need to get your hands on some experience, I would say. Okay, let me see. On to the next question. Got any more questions here? Let me see. BrolyCon, how you doing, man? My fellow nerd has joined me. I don't feel alone anymore. Good evening. Let me see. Let me see. Rex says, when you're done, just curious. Okay, no, that's another question. Um, Question. Somebody said, I want to be a cybersecurity analyst, but have no experience. Should I go to a help desk first? Yes. Yes. Help desk, any kind of hands-on is going to be great for you. If you can land a SOC job, a SOC 1 analyst job, something like that, that'd be the best one. But those are hard to come by if unless you like have background in like military background, or if you have intel background, or if you have like a security clearance, then you could get yourself a SOC analyst 1 position. If you have no experience at all, it's going to be much more difficult for you to become a cybersecurity analyst. I just want to be completely fair. Have I met people who didn't have any? Yes, but it's pretty rare. Um, and normally they had some kind of some kind of background, usually military or intel or something. Um, Starting from nothing, you want to get your foot in the door, which is like a help desk position or something like that. Like you got to start. There's just so much information to learn here. So I'd be lying to you if I said, "Oh, it's easy. All you got to do is apply for a site, get it yourself a CCNA." That's just a flat out lie because they're looking for experience. So I would say, is it impossible? I mean, it's highly everything's possible. It's just not probable that you're going to get a job with no experience doing cybersecurity analyst work because it's very involved. You've got to know several different disciplines. So help desk first. Help that you might not even want to do cybersecurity analyst after you do help desk. You might want to go network security. You might want to be a firewall person. You might want to have nothing to do with any of it. You might want to be a manager. Help desk is going to help you figure that out, and it's going to give you a good foundation for learning the basics in information technology. Not just the basics from a book, but actually hands-on experience that's going to allow you to blossom as a strong technical lead. Okay, let me see here. C says CISSP, GCIH, BG and GRC and IR. What do you need to make your job easier? So I don't understand the question. CISSP is a certification. GCIH is a certification. A background in GRC and incident response. What do you need to make your job easier? So I don't understand the full body of the question here. Let me see here. And then Jada answered Jake Matthews' question, says, depends on your objective. I have an OSCP. Oh, shit. You have an OSCP? Oh, shit. I didn't realize who I was talking to. And a CEH due to my skills and my job requirements. Damn. I got some questions for you. One I didn't mention, the certification I hear mentioned from time to time on pen testing and red teaming, is one called GPEN from from the SANS organization. But that's a pretty expensive. All their stuff is really expensive. Question I have. Question: I have 10 years of experience in IT support. How can I cross over to cybersecurity? So this kind of question right here, and people like yourself, is people I can really help, because really at this point it's a matter of how you market yourself. And this is something I really did well at by accident. When I got out of the military, one of the things the military taught me before I got out, they had this transition assistant program. And I went to it because I had to. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done it. But I had a checklist. When you get out of the military, in the Air Force anyway, we had a checklist we had to do when we were getting out. One of the things on my checklist was this transition assistance program. So I went there. It was like a 2 hour thing. And these guys taught me how to do resumes. These guys taught me like what to put on your resume. These guys, so I'm telling you is what was in that class. And what they told me, the fundamentals of what they told me was how to do a resume. You want to do what's called an ATS style resume. That's Alpha Tango Sierra resume. That's application tracking software resume. It's a very basic resume. You put that very basic resume together, and that format is what Fortune 500, Fortune 100, all the companies, when they're pulling your resume into their database, that format is perfect for their database. So it helps them to keep you on the top of the stack, so to speak. Whenever people are applying for jobs, it's going in their database. And if you have properly put the format in there, that's one hurdle that you jumped over. Another thing with that resume is to put all the keywords into that resume. What do I mean by keywords? It depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to be a pen tester versus a GRC person, you're going to put different things depending on what you want to focus on. I'll give you an example. If you're a pen tester, you probably want to put that you have a CEH or an OSCP. You probably want to put that you have experience with packet tracers or experience. It's been a while since I've done it before, so I'm not as my mind's not as sharp on it. But you probably want to put how many times you responded to an incident, and then how many instances of malware that you have removed from the environment. You want to focus on things like that. You want to put in tools that you've used, Kali Linux. You probably want to put in there that you know attack framework. You probably want to there's certain keywords and key phrases and things that they would want from you if you were trying to be a red teaming person, if you were trying to do pen testing or ethical hacking. If you're trying to do GRC type work, things they're looking for is not necessarily pen testing tools. They don't want to. You don't have to know the attack framework. You don't have to know about kill chain and packet tracing and all those tools and methodologies. What they want from me on my resume, what they're looking for is, do I know not only standards and frameworks, but have I ever applied them before? Have I ever written a plan of action and milestone? I'd have to put that, a POA&M, on my resume. Or have I ever done an action plan? In the private sector, they call it an action plan. Have I ever been a part of vulnerability management? And I would have to explain that on my resume. Have I ever done a system security plan? Have I ever written an implementation statement on a system security plan? Do I know the NIST 800 risk management framework? If it's in the healthcare industry, have I ever applied HIPAA to a policy? Have I ever written a policy for a healthcare organization? You see what I'm getting at? You want to put, with your 10 years of experience, I guarantee you have security, you have done security. You got to articulate it on your resume. And if you don't know how to, if you want some guidance on that, what you can do right now is go to Bing, go to Google, and type in. There's a couple things you can do. The easiest one would be let me just do it real quick here. So the easiest thing for you to do would go to Google or Bing, and you can follow along with me and type in CIS, Charlie, India, Sierra, and V8. So I want to show you something real quick. The fastest way for me to explain it to you is to give you a visual representation of it. And if for those who are listening, I will explain what we're looking at here. So CIS CIS V8 is a security standard that breaks down all the best security practices. You have done in 10 years, I guarantee you've done most of these security practices. I'm just going to read a few of them. You need to put these on your resume. Have you ever done an inventory? Some of these are going to surprise you because you're not hacking. You're not doing all the stuff that you see in the movies for cybersecurity. But nevertheless, these are cybersecurity. These are GRC, governance, risk, and compliance type activities people don't really talk about. But inventory of assets, hardware and software assets. Have you ever participated in doing inventory for hardware and software assets? You probably have. In 10 years, you probably have. Why is this related to cybersecurity? Because helps to establish a baseline. You've been a part of baseline configuration. They have baseline configuration, it's listed here, but part of it is knowing what's in your environment. Knowing what's in your environment means having an inventory of hardware and software assets. So you need to put that on your resume. Another thing, if you've done it before, protection, data protection. That's encryption. That's making sure you have access controls. They have access control on here. Access control management. Have you been a part of that? Have you done account management? That's part of cybersecurity. That's a basic security practice. You want to put these basic security practice items in your resume, where you have done them before and how effective you were in implementing them and being a part of the implementation, especially if you were a leader that was leading a team doing configuration vulnerability management, doing audit log management, looking at audit logs, seeing if what's going on with the system. Email and browser and web browser protection, malware defense, data recovery, network infrastructure management, service provider management, security and awareness training. All these things are a part of cybersecurity. Think about it. Whenever an organization gets hacked, CrowdStrike, let's take the CrowdStrike in. That wasn't a hack, actually. Perfect example, because it wasn't a hack. Why is it related to cybersecurity? Take out the fact that CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity company. It doesn't even matter. The reason why it's related to cybersecurity and governance, risk, and compliance is because one of the key things you're supposed to do with a change, because that's what happened. What happened was it wasn't Windows that had the issue. It wasn't a hack. It wasn't Windows in particular that had the issue. It was an agent from CrowdStrike, a cybersecurity company that does like malware protection, malware defenses. They do way more than that, but that's one of the things that they do. There's an agent on the system that's helping to monitor the environment, helping to monitor the system to see if there's any anomalies, security-based anomalies. They had a misconfiguration of the software, which shut the whole network down, the whole system that they're using down. Now, why did it hit so many systems at once? Couple reasons. You're supposed to test in an environment before you put in production. That is a part of cybersecurity practices. That's a basic cybersecurity practice that's supposed to be done, especially if you're dealing with important information and important processes. You're supposed to have a testing environment, test out any kind of major software or hardware changes, and then once you figure out, okay, there's not going to break anything, it's still working, now we're going to put it in production. That's what's supposed to happen, but they didn't do that. Your airports didn't do it. Healthcare organizations didn't do it. All the people who are crying and having all these issues, they didn't do that. But it's a basic security practice. It's what you would do with, let me see, application software security is one of them. You could put it under that one. Another one would be, where would you do the testing at? Continuous vulnerability management. You could put it under a couple of these items where they didn't do that properly. Data protection. I'll probably put it under application software security, because what you're supposed to do is if you have any kind of major changes, on your environment, you're supposed to have a testing environment. That a testing environment is separate from your production environment, in that you can do whatever you want. You can put malware on it. You can break stuff. You can put new changes. You can change from Windows to Mac and test it out, see if it still works. But you test in this environment, so it's safe. That if something breaks, it's no big deal. You just restart the system, start over again. But if you put it directly into production, shit breaks and you lose your functionality. That's what happens. So that's the problem that occurred with the CrowdStrike issue. So what can you do? So with your 10 years experience, you've definitely done some of this stuff, and you can, if you put it on your resume, you can actually ensure that you get in there, and people will contact you. Okay, let me see. Somebody said recently passed the CIS certification with 3 years of IT audit experience, looking to get into GRC. That's awesome. CISA is a great certification. Let me see. Whoa, Jada is no joke. I'm a cybersecurity professional with various threat emulation. Holy shit, that's crazy. I should interview you. What does information security do? So information security is it's, how do I explain it? It is, people describe it differently. So some people will separate cybersecurity from information security. I'm not one of those people. I kind of merge those two things. Like, I use those things interchangeably. But in the industry, it is treated different. Whereas information security is making sure that your organization as a whole has a level of assurance with the processes of the organization. Confidence. Assurance just means we have confidence that our processes are secure in our organization. A specific example would be personnel security. Personnel security means, like, whenever we hire a new person, we make sure they're vetted. We did a brief background check. We're at a bank. We can't take people who robbed the bank before. We just can't do it. We make sure that this person. They said that they have a certification. We double check to make sure they do. We see if they have a criminal background. Maybe it's no problem they have a criminal background. We just need to know what it is. So we've vetted this person. That's not necessarily cybersecurity, right? Cybersecurity is like, did we update the malware on our servers? Did we double check that this new update on CrowdStrike is not going to take out our entire network? Cybersecurity is more technical. Information security includes technical stuff. It includes all that. That's the beauty of it. Is information security is actually bigger, but information security can also include things like personnel security, documentation. Do we have documentation that if our main guy leaves, our main guy has left, and we have another person that can not only come in, but we have documentation that will walk them through exactly how to do it. And we have done a background check on them. So information security is much broader than cybersecurity. It's more inclusive. So you could say that GRC and information security is the same thing, but I would argue that GRC is even bigger. It's even bigger because it includes a lot of management types. Governance part is like management stuff. So it's pretty synonymous with information security. So it's kind of splitting hairs once you start talking about the difference between those two things. Reviewing NIST 853A isn't a bad idea to start. Yeah, for sure. Trying to break into tech from a vulnerability management space. I would argue that you're already in information technology. I would argue that you are an IT professional already. What specifically are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to do? Okay. Hmm. Please post your book link. So I'm gonna be doing something special for all the books. I'm working on it right now. It's just taking me a while to do. But right now, if you wanted to get it right this minute, you can just go to Amazon, type in Bruce Brown Convo Courses. You'll find all my books. Um, you can also go to convocourses.com. I've got a ebook there that you can get, and then you can. I'm going to be selling them directly, but on all these apps. But I just got to set all that stuff up. It's just taking me a while. Big tech, big tech incident response lead from GRC. Build a home lab to get out of GRC and build that salary. That's some good advice. That's some sound advice right there. Do you think companies will stop using CrowdStrike? No, I think that CrowdStrike is going to continue to be used. That's just a great product, but I think that they made a mistake. It happens. It happened to Cisco, the largest network engineering and technology, networking technology company in the US. It happened to Windows all the damn time. I mean, look at Internet Explorer. I mean, it's not their best product. It's still going strong. I mean, they rebranded it and renamed it and redone it, but it's still going. The CrowdStrike will be around. They made a huge mistake. Their stock is going to take a dive. Their stock is going to get hit bad. They got to come. They got to recover from that. They got to clean up their reputation. They made a mistake. It happens. That's a part of having risk. It's going to get worse. They start lying about things. Like LastPass was kind of shady about how they dealt with their hacking situation. LastPass is a password organization. I was using their product, but they kept lying about stuff, or not lying, but kind of like not saying the whole truth, and then it would come out later. That's where cybersecurity companies start to lose, like really lose traction. Is when they lose integrity and they start lying about stuff. I think as a cybersecurity company, you can't keep lying about stuff. Those are the ones who really suffer and they don't recover. Their reputation doesn't recover when they start lying about stuff. When their CEO goes on TV and starts lying so that the stocks will go up, it's a bad look for a cybersecurity company to do that kind of stuff. And they never fully recover from that kind of thing unless they like rebrand, or they gotta fire the CEO and like change all the management and stuff like that. Then there's a chance. Like I think McAfee had some run-ins like that. They were never the same after they do all that lying and trying to tap dance and stuff. It's better for them to just come forward and say, look, this is what happened. We found out at this time, at this date, we were hacked. Like, we're fixing it right now. We're in the middle of it. We're almost done. Stuff like that. Um, yeah, I think they'll survive. C says CS Lab, CS is an industry leader. CloudStrike is an industry leader. They aren't going anywhere. Yeah, I agree. Buy the dip. Buy their stock right now is what he's saying. Uh, I don't know about buying stock. I'm not a financial advisor, so I cannot tell you whether to buy it or not. But I would say it's probably low right now. Probably buying it at a discount. I haven't bought any, so I don't know. Maybe I should. Let me see. I just got a job there, so it's glad to hear. Nah, CloudStrike is fire, man. I mean, governments, everybody's using it. That's why it was such a widespread issue. They made a mistake. They'll recover. I took the ISC 2 squared and the Security Plus classes currently going through. Interviews has been a lot. Yep, just stick with it. Like I said, I think you asked me last. Was it you that asked me last week? And I said what you should do is practice, rehearse it, rehearse your interview. That's what I would do. If I were you, I'd take whatever job description that's given to me, the one right before the interview, practice in front of the mirror or record yourself is the best thing to do. Record yourself with your phone doing the interview, answering the questions, and create the questions based off of what is in the description. You can also use like an AI to help you if you wanted to, like you want it to be all advanced, but you don't have to. You literally just take the job description and read through it and then go that way. Um, wow. So I put the wrong freaking YouTube channel on here. Oh my God. I'm using the wrong YouTube channel. That explains a lot. God damn it. Oh my freaking God. I screwed up, man. I screwed up. What is wrong with me? I need to take a hard look at what I'm doing. My process is messed up. I'm broadcasting to the wrong YouTube channel. Look at dumbass. And I only just now recognized it. So stupid. Oh my God. Man, I fucked up. Wow. Live. So stupid. Oh my goodness. I apologize, guys. I apologize to my YouTube family out there. All right, I'm just gonna record this and I'll post it on the other channel. Oh my goodness, so dumb. I messed up. Okay, I did a cloud strike. It says your growth in cyber can be limited to administrative tasks if you don't have any STEM or IT background. Great advice. Let's see. What's the name? What's the name if the IT healthcare what is the name of the IT certification? So the IT healthcare certification that I brought up before. Let me see. IT certification. So let me just search it real quick. I typed in healthcare, um, healthcare or health certificate ISC2 squared, and it will bring right up. It'll come right up. Let me see here. It is called the HCISP. HCISPP certification, which is Healthcare Information Security and Privacy Practitioner. And that's the one it's basically a GRC certification for healthcare professionals. And it's from IC2 Square, so you're going to get an awesome certification on that one. How do I get that first cybersecurity job with a boot camp or and Security Plus? How do I get that first cybersecurity job? Um, I get a lot of people asking me about the boot camp stuff, and in my opinion, if you're gonna spend 9,000, 8,000 on a boot camp, it's better just go to get a degree, an IT degree, because a boot camp alone is not going to get you a job. Experience is going to get you a job. So the best thing you can do is do focus your energy on getting a certificate and on getting experience. Find a way to get experience. Find a way to get experience. Wherever you happen to be working, try to make a lateral change to get experience in the IT department. Start, even if like it's very basic, if you can make a lateral change into the IT department, do that. If there's an IT person around you, wherever you happen to work, ask them about how they got that job. Get advice directly from them as they're fixing the point of sale device or as they're fixing your local network. Um, you'd be surprised. A lot of them are happy to talk to you about getting into this field. Another thing you can do is be a freelancer. Be a freelancer. Especially if you already know how to do IT stuff, building computers, removing malware, all that kind of stuff. You can get in there. You can actually get that experience doing that, being a freelancer. So over boot camps and over certifications, I always recommend people to get experience. That's the best thing you can do. Should you go to college for cyber? It's You don't have to, but it's best if you did. If you can do it, if you have the time, money, and energy to do it, you should. If you don't, there's still hope. You can still do it. It's just going to be harder. It's just going to be harder. What college gives you, if you're not already in the IT field, it gives you several things. It gives you the opportunity to do internships and apprenticeships, but it also gives you network. Like you can network with other people who are trying to get in the field or who are already in the field. Um, and it's going to, once you're done with it, it of course gives you that piece of paper, but that's not the best thing about the degree, about school. The best thing is it gives you time to learn all the fundamentals of information technology, and you can be a working student. That's another thing that people don't talk about that's really, really valuable. You can be a working student and helping the school actually fix their IT. If you can be in the IT department, if you did volunteer work, that volunteer work is worth its weight in gold if you can get that. So if if you have the time, money, and energy to go to school, you should totally do it. You should totally do it, and be working as you're in school. Start building when you're in school. As you're in school, that's what my advice to you would be. So not only go to school, but get experience while you're in school. Use every advantage you can while you're in school. Looking to take my CISA examination soon. Any advice? Go to ISACA's website, and ISACA will have a bunch of resources for you to start working on the domains that they're going to want you to that they're going to focus on the test. So that's one thing. Another thing that I would do, I don't have a CISA certification. I have a CISSP and several other certifications, but I'm telling you what I did with to get my certifications. Number one, go to the main source, which is ISACA's website, right? Another thing is talk to people who have already taken the CISA test and ask them questions about like where to go with that, any advice that they can give you. I would get a book. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the official guide. This needs to be the most current book that's dealing with the most current version of the CISA. And I would study that book and take notes and then study your notes. And know your learning style, because not everybody learns the same way. Me, I'm a tactile learner. Like if I have a written, if I can write down what I'm trying to learn, it's almost photographic memory if I write it down. But if I was just to listen to a lecture, I'm not going to remember none of that, man. I might remember 3 words from what they said if I don't write it down. It's just me. But some people are audio learners. What style of learning do you have, and then use that to your advantage? If you're an audio learner, get audio books on that topic. If you're a visual learner, watch a bunch of videos about how to do it. If you're a tactile learner, you got to actually do it. Do the actual practices to be a better CISA person. Learn all the stuff as much as you can tactile, or write it down like me. So see what kind of learner you are, and then focus on that style of learning. I hope that helps. Do you think that AI will take over cybersecurity jobs? So I get this question every week. Once a week, there's a few questions I get over and over, and this is one of them. No, I don't think that AI is going to take cybersecurity jobs. Maybe in about 10 years, maybe. But I still think you're going to need IT professionals to manage the AI. I still think that you're going to need compliance and safety in the AI. So the AI will still have to have governance, risk, and compliance. Somebody has to manage that. So I don't think that AI will take jobs from cybersecurity or IT. I think that people who know AI will take jobs from people who don't know AI. People who use the tools will take jobs from people who don't use the tools in cybersecurity. That's what I think. And that's not me. That's not my saying. That came from. There's a couple of industry leaders who said that, and as soon as they said it, I was like, exactly, exactly. And the reason why I don't think it's going to take jobs, I think it'll shift jobs. It'll shift jobs. It won't take jobs. And it's the same thing that's happened with mobile phones. It's the same thing that's happened with the internet. Same thing that's happened with the horse and buggy when it got taken over by cars. It shifted all the jobs. It didn't take away. It did eliminate some jobs, but other jobs cropped up to take care of the new infrastructure that was happening. And I think that that's what's going to happen with AI. We're all going to use it in some shape or way, shape or form. We're all going to start using it. It'll be a part of what our day-to-day life, and it'll be like air. We won't even. It'll just be one. It'll be something that's there. It'll be like menus or something. You'll be able to talk to your computer. You'll be able to talk to your. I know it sounds weird to say that, but one of the best things about AI is it's like a menu. You can ask it something, and it will do it. And it's like it's like a menu. Like you're asking it to do X, Y, and Z task, and it's doing that thing for you, rather than you scrolling or doing whatever, and it's accessing the information you want, or it's putting together information you want. It's better as a tool. It's not very good as a replacement. Case in point, I use it a lot for writing. In the beginning, people were like, oh, it's going to replace all writers, and you can just write a whole book with it and stuff. So the problem with it is, like, you'll have it write something, and it hallucinates, so it'll just make some shit up. And if you're not a subject matter expert in that particular field, you won't even catch it, because it just lies boldly to your face like nothing. But I happen to be a subject matter expert in risk management framework, and when it says lies, I'm like, okay, that's not true. And I'm like, this is scary, because it sounds true the way it's saying it, but it's not. So it's good as a tool to help you with your writing, or to help you with, I don't know, running Splunk, or running, writing policies or whatever, but it's not a good replacement yet. I think one day I think one day for sure it will be an awesome replacement, but even then it's still going to need safety protocols in place, so to stop it from hallucinating, to not tell people to jump off cliffs, because it's still doing that kind of stuff. It's not ready yet. It's a great tool, not a good replacement. Okay, Tariq says, was looking for you on YouTube today. Oh man, dude. What happened is I'm broadcasting on the wrong YouTube channel. I'm broadcasting on the wrong YouTube channel, so I'm gonna have to upload this whole thing. So stupid. I fucked up. But all right, let's keep it going. I'll upload this whole thing on YouTube on the other channel later. I fucked up. Do you feel the tech industry is oversaturated right now? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Not at all. I think what's happening is the media it focuses on the stock market, the S&P 500, and all the blue chip stocks that are in what we call FANG. FANG is Facebook, now Meta, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, now known as Alphabet, and sometimes they include Tesla in there. These are some of the biggest stocks. These are tech giants with all the biggest stocks. So when it goes down, the media only talks about like three things. They talk about the big tech industry, they talk about fucking Trump, and then they talk about, I don't know, what's the other one? Russia. They talk about like three things on the major news outlets. They talk about three things in constant rotation because that's what their audience wants to hear. All right, every now and then they'll mention something that's happening in Congo, or they'll have mention something like. But mainly they focus on, so everybody have blinders on and thinks that's what's all this is happening because these guys are pumping out all this information. They don't cover. The thing is, IT and IT specifically, you've got all these other industries that are in great need and in demand for people like you and I, like IT professionals, governance, risk, and compliance people. It's not oversaturated. We definitely need people, but we need qualified people. That's the thing. You need people, but you can't just get anybody because you have to trust the people that are coming in the door. So that's what's happening. We don't have enough people, actually. We do not have enough people. The healthcare industry needs people. The fintech, financial, technical, they need more people, more security people in particular. Cloud needs more people. Any kind of cloud technology needs more people. With this CloudStrike shit, people are working overtime to fix this stuff because it's a lot of work. But there's not enough people to do the work. So now you got people working overtime. They're probably working right now to fix it. And the government needs more people. We need more people, but we need qualified people. I mean, I think that's why my books are selling, because there's not enough people to do this work, and we need people that know the information to do the work. So, and by the way, I've been selling this shit for years. I've been doing this for years, man. I mean, I think I started in 2003. I've been doing this for like 20. I've been doing this for 20. I've been selling this stuff for 20 years. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. It's because this industry hasn't stopped growing. It just keeps on evolving and growing and stuff. So, yeah, we definitely need people. It's not oversaturated. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's absolutely not oversaturated. We just need more people to do the work. Is there value in GRC internship program? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's GRC internship or apprenticeship is a golden opportunity because it's not, unlike parts of IT like software development and pen testing. GRC is a field where you can't hire just anybody to do it. Like, you can't hire somebody from India to do GRC type work. In most jobs you can't. And the reason why is because they require, especially if you're a US based job. Now this goes the same thing for Indian jobs. If you're in India and you need jobs for people who doing GRC in the Indian government, you can't hire. They're going to be more reluctant to hire a foreigner to come in there and do governance, risk, and compliance on Indian systems. Does that make sense? Same thing with US. Like, if you have a US bank, they're going to be way more reluctant to hire somebody from China or India or wherever to do cybersecurity work on a US bank. And it's same thing with government. Same thing with critical infrastructure. Same thing with healthcare. It's very regionally based, is what I'm trying to say. Is because, and so that eliminates the playing field. It eliminates the competition. It reduces the level of competition that you have to do, because you're not competing against people from overseas who will do it better than you and for less money. GRC replace people. So is there a value in GRC internship program? Yes. Okay, let's see here. Um, I graduate spring 2025 with a cybersecurity degree with 2 years experience in university IT. What's next step? Your next step starts, Ahmed, right now. Your next step starts right now. Do not wait until you get your degree, your diploma, that piece of paper in the spring of 2025. Become a working student. I'm going to give you a few things that you can do right now. Number one, go become a working student right now. Go look at your university, wherever it is, even if it's online, and ask them if they have a working student program for IT, for doing IT. If they don't have a working student program, look for a apprenticeship. If they don't have that, look for an internship. Look for all three of those things. Another thing you need to do is start to network with people. Talk to people and see what industries they're going into. Your peers, ask them. Your instructors, ask them, like, what industry have you been in? Are you currently working a side job? Do you have a side hustle? Do you do programming for people? Like, what do you do? And ask your teacher, like, what do they have job? Are they hiring? What I'm trying to tell you to do is get experience right now. Do not wait. Start a freelance where you, if you are good at removing malware, do that as a freelancer. Anything you can put on your resume that's actually something you are doing hands on, do it. Another thing you can do is set up a lab. It's a lab is really a must. Like, that's the bare ass essentials that you should do. I think every IT professional should do a lab. Create a lab in your house. At the very least, mess around with the network you currently have in your house. Add devices to it. Remove devices. Put firewall. It's going to break things. Like, break things and fix them on your network. So that's what you should be doing, like, right now. The next step starts right now. What good is What's a good school to attend for cybersecurity? Um, Torres, I would say a good school to attend for cybersecurity is one that is accredited. Case in point, I went to a school called University of Phoenix. Now, if you look up University of Phoenix, there's some controversial things about it. It is an accredited school, okay? It's a legit school. It's not like I don't have a degree from a fake university. It is a real university. It's just that, how do I put this nicely? But it won't ban me. There's no way for me to put it nicely. They have some practices that are not the best. I'll just put it to you that way. But every organization has problems, right? Okay, so what I'm trying to get at is I'm doing pretty well for myself, even though I have a degree from the University of Phoenix. Um, just go to an accredited school. What I will say is, if you're trying to get in IT, the best degrees that the market is looking for is going to be the ones that are cybersecurity, that are not cybersecurity, that are IT based. It could be computer science. It can be a database degree. I don't know if they do that. It could be software engineering. It can be information technology, information systems, data analytics, anything dealing with processing information. Those are going to be the ones that the industry is going to look for the most. That said, you can use a STEM degree. You can use, they're going to help you out, like a science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Any of those degrees are going to help you. But the best thing is for you to have a background in IT, like actual experience. So while you're in school, get that experience. Use that time in school to get that experience. Like I was telling Ahmed, be a working student while you're in school. Volunteer for internships, apprenticeships, that kind of thing. So let me see more questions. And I apologize, guys. I normally post on both YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and everywhere, but I made a mistake and I'm broadcasting to another channel right now. All's not lost. I'm gonna repost it. How can I turn GRC internship to employment? So what you'll do is any all of the experience that you're getting from your internship, you're going to put that on your resume, and you need to market your resume. First of all, you need the proper format for your resume, ATS style resume, application tracking software resume. Look it up, ATS style resume. You're going to take that resume and you're going to upload it. You're going to put all the keywords for the industry that you've done. Like, and one of the things that you have that a lot of people who follow me or asking me questions that you have that you've gotten is your internship. That's experience. Put that experience on that ATS style resume. It's going to make you highly marketable because you now have experience. So that's how you're going to use that. You're going to use that experience as leverage to get in a better position. And while you're in that internship, what you could probably do is try to get yourself to stay in that position. Because what you could do is make a lateral change. You could be in that internship. If you work hard enough, they'll keep you because they're looking for good, talented people. That's why they do the internship, so they can steal talent from the college. As soon as they come out, they're like, okay, come over here. So work as hard as you can there, pick up things, be a good team player. You could probably not even you could actually work there and they'll hire you and maybe pay you more money. So that's what it's good for. JM says, Bruce, you and I both know that these folks need to figure out what they want to do and start, but they need to know the job that they put on their resume. Somebody else says, how do you get into cyber? I actually started in the military. I started off in the military and I started doing cybersecurity in the military. I was a 3COX1, which is a computer operator. And at the time, we were active duty. They would have us doing everything. I mean, we except for programming, we got to mess around with databases. They had a whole nother field for database people, but we were messing around with networking, the firewall. We were doing help desk. They had me doing risk management framework as a side job. It's like, I did a little bit of everything when I was in the military, but that's how I got my start in cybersecurity. Then when I got out of the military, it was just a natural transition. And the biggest thing that I had done that was most valuable on the outside of the military was risk management framework, was compliance, GRC type stuff that I talk about. And so that's where I kept getting hired for it because as soon as I put that stuff on my resume, start getting hired like crazy. Now, to this day, I could leave the job I currently have and then just go work, somewhere else because those are keywords that it's very hot. It's just a very hot market, the GRC stuff, and not many people are doing it or talk about it or have that experience. Let me see. Somebody said, "Hey Bruce, made a post on LinkedIn, shouted you out along with some of your top IT tech content creators. Hope you're doing well. Can you can check it out if you can?" Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm on LinkedIn, by the way. For those of you who didn't know, my LinkedIn is doing pretty good. And he says, I was wondering what happened today. I couldn't find your YouTube on only on LinkedIn. Yeah, I messed up, man. I messed up. My biggest audience is on YouTube, so it's kind of a big deal. But I'll repost this on YouTube. But the live interactions I do on YouTube are that's my core audience right there. So man, I messed up bad. Kev says, what should I give? What should I get? Could I get into cyber with an information security and assurance degree? I graduate in December. Yes, you can get into cyber with an information security and insurance degree. What I would advise you to do, Kev, is like I tell everybody, like I'm a broken record, is get experience while you're still in school. Don't wait till you get that piece of paper. That piece of paper is not magic. You're not going to be able to get that piece of paper and magically just get yourself in the door. It helps you. It's more competitive. I'm not telling you not to get a degree. I have a degree. I have certifications. Those are all good. They're great. But what I'm telling you is that while you're in school, get experience that you can put on your resume. Because when you go to your first interview, they're going to ask you about your experience, not about your degree, not about your certifications. So get experience. How do you get experience? If you're in school, you actually have a golden opportunity because you can do internships, you can do apprenticeships, you can network with people, you can be a working student, you can go to the ISSA and sit in there. They might even have a discount for students going to the ISSA. ISSA is the Information System Security Association. That's in every city, near every town. There's an ISSA. Network as much as possible. So yes, that's a great degree. The information assurance and information security is great, especially for GRC, but the experience is going to be the best thing that you can do for yourself. All right, let's see. Let's see. In high school, doing a cybersecurity apprenticeship program aimed at giving us jobs after high school. Any tips? That's great. I mean, that is awesome. Any tips? I would say at where you're at, probably get as much hands-on technical experience as you can. Learn things like Linux, mess around with Mac operating systems, learn how to install and build a computer. If you can get your hands on like building a PC, that's going to give you really valuable help desk type background, a really strong technical background to know how the motherboard works with the RAM and how everything works together. So my tip is to get as many fundamental IT, hands-on IT as you can. From networking, learn to network systems together, building the hardware and how it works with the software, installing operating systems, learning not just Windows, but learning other operating systems such as Linux and Mac OS. Um, Learn Wi-Fi, how to connect Wi-Fi networks, and then learn best security practices as much as you can. Learn as much as you can. Learn like hacking tools. Like you have a lot of time to like really get a strong fundamental understanding. The cyber apprentice program is really, really, I cannot stress to you enough how awesome that is for you to start that in high school, especially if you stick with it and don't like steer into another direction, like to try to be a content creator or something like that. Because that's cool. The thing is, you can do that while you're doing school. This stuff pays really well, man. Like if you stick with this in high school, you will be making more than many Americans make.
I make Chinese food.
In okay, let me just put it right.
Should I'm silly.
Let me finish this. I'm almost done.
Okay.
Let me see. I want to interview you as well. Oh, you have a channel? Yeah, absolutely. Hit me up. Contact@convocourses.com, and we'll arrange something. Looking to take my CISA exam soon. Any advice? I think I already answered this one earlier. Somebody asked me the exact same question. Are you going to Black Hat? No, I'm not going to Black Hat or DEF CON. I've been there a couple times. I've been to DEF CON a couple times. I've never been to the Black Hat. DEF CON is something I will tell every single IT professional who's interested in cyber. And if you're a cybersecurity person, You got to go at least once to check it out. It's going to open your eyes to how dangerous things are. And if you do go, don't do your taxes there. Don't do anything important. Don't log into your bank. Don't do your taxes. Don't don't do anything important while you're there in Las Vegas because there's a very good chance you're going to get hacked. It's just a very dangerous place when you're there. When they're doing that DEF CON, man, and the black hat, it's just a dangerous, one of the most dangerous places you can be. There's so much risk. I remember when I was there one time, they had this huge, we call it a wall of sheep. They had a big projector that had a list of names, and anytime they would hack somebody, they would put them on that wall. And they were trying to make a point. They were trying to say, "Don't be a sheep. Be in the know. Wake up. Stay woke." That's what they were trying to tell you. And if you weren't woke, you were on that wall of sheep. And one of the guys that they caught was a dude doing his taxes. Uh, what a horrible thing. It was like a public hanging. They had a dude doing his taxes. They had his name up there and had blanked out his tax information, but they said, "Yeah, we caught this guy." What they were trying to do is like do basic. They want you to do basic security because if you do basic security, they're not going to catch you slipping. And there's a saying in cybersecurity that says, "Be faster than the slowest person." If you're running from a bear, the most important thing is be faster than the slowest person. The slowest person is a person who has done no protection on their system at all, knowing that there's a higher level of risk. What do I mean by that? Give you specific examples. Not having a password on your system, not having the same password on multiple important accounts, using unencrypted Wi-Fi, using WEP on your Wi-Fi network. Because what hackers do is they're really going off soft. They're really usually going trying to chase down what's called soft targets, people who are easy to hack, people who have no protection at all. They're not doing anything to protect their system. You should have multi-factor authentication on any and all important devices, on your phone especially, on your any of your main accounts. All your bank accounts should have multi-factor authentication using your fingerprint, your face, and a password or a PIN number, like having multiple methods of getting in. That's what that means, having multiple authentication methods of getting into your systems. And if you don't have that, then you're the slowest person in a race. Like all of us are at risk, right? That not a single one of anybody can get it. From where I come from, they said anybody can get it. That means that it doesn't matter who you are. At any given moment, you can get got, and you could take that as far as you want from just getting robbed to the worst, absolute worst case scenario. Anybody can get it, and that in IT, that is absolutely true. You need to be faster than the slowest person. You got to do some security, something on your bank accounts, on your phone, on your systems, on something, encryption, multi-factor authentication, the basics. And if you're not doing that at DEF CON, you will get got. They will compromise your system. They will access your accounts. They will make you look like a fool. And it doesn't matter if you're an IT professional, if you're a security person, if you know, it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, they will get you. I've been hacked several times. I've had websites hacked. I've had, you name it, so anybody can get it at any given time. Uh, what are GRC interviews like? GRC interviews. So They're like any other interview. Normally, one thing that's a little bit probably different is that you'll have several interviews. It's usually about 5 interviews, 4 to 5 interviews. On average, at least 3, but probably about 4. Like the first one's like a screening interview. And the second one is like you're talking to like a manager, and they're trying to gauge like where you, if you fit into their organization. And then you have a technical interview, and then sometimes they'll add another level interview. So it's usually about 3 to 4 interviews that you got to have. Number one, each one of those 4 interviews is a bit different. The first one's a screening interview. Is not really an interview. It's just seeing, okay, is this person um, does this person have all the requirements to fit into this position? Like it's not stressful at all. It's just like, do you want this job? How much what's your range? What's your, like, very upfront about what's going on? We're interested in you, stuff like that, right? And that's normally somebody who's not even in the company. It's just some hiring. It's like a hiring organization. The second one is a real interview. They set you up for a date to have that interview, and then it's normally in online. These days they're on Zoom calls or something like that, but they do have some where you have to meet in person. And but the first one, usually it's on a Zoom call. And in my experience, it's normally some kind of hiring manager to see if you're a good fit for the company and if you want to be in the company and where you're at. So it's your first interface with the actual company. They're going to ask you very generic questions like, if there's travel, are you open to travel? Have you ever worked with us before? Basic stuff. It's not, you're going to be stressed, but there's no reason to stress because they're asking you basic questions. And then there's the more stressful one, which is more technical interview. The kind of questions that they're going to ask you is based off of whatever industry you're in. If you're in the retail sector and you're trying to go for a governance, risk, and compliance job, they're going to ask you jobs about PCI DSS. And more importantly, going to ask you, what is your experience implementing PCI DSS for whatever place that you work for? If you work for Walmart, they're going to be like, okay, well, what's your experience in implementing a separate network? That's one of the things you have to do. PCI DSS, a separate network for PCI DSS. They're going to ask you specifically, what did you do, right? Not asking you certification or anything like that. They can see on there you have a certification. They can double check it, see if it's legit, and then that's done. They don't have to ask you that about your degree or any of that. And they're going to ask you all based off of that industry and how you were able to apply that standard, that regulation, or that framework to that industry. In my industry, working for the government, they'll ask risk management framework questions. NIST 800 risk management framework. So they'll ask specific questions that they ask will be, have you ever done a plan of action and milestone before? And I'll say, yeah, I have done one before. Now, I usually just go right into how I've done it. But if you don't explain, they will ask you, well, can you tell me what your experience was with a plan of action and milestone? And I will just explain to them, like in story form, well, at my last organization, I was working for XYZ government organization. I was a contractor with this company, as it says on my resume. And we actually implemented probably about 400 or 500 plan of action and milestones. We managed to close about 60% of them. And most of them had to do with, I don't know, AU controls. I'm just making stuff up at this point. We had AU controls. So I'm demonstrating several things as I'm talking to them, demonstrating my knowledge of the NIST 800, but I'm also while I'm telling them what I've done on a plan of action and milestone. I'm telling them not only that I've done them before, I've done hundreds of them, but also I know a lot about this particular security standard. You want to articulate as many things as possible on how much you know about that particular framework. You'd be surprised how much you actually know about frameworks. Because if you've ever done any kind of best security practice before, as an IT professional, as a cybersecurity, you've done any kind of anything with security or IT, you have had exposure to governance, risk, and compliance. You've had exposure to I'll just name a few: ISO 27001, PCI DSS, Sarbanes-Oxley, a NIST 800, NIST cybersecurity framework. There's many COBIT. There's so many different ones that they're out there that you have had exposure to. You're doing them because if you've ever implemented anything with security, those best practices map right back to one of these frameworks. So you just explain the best security practices that you have implemented before and how those map back to the framework. That's all I'm doing. When they ask me, so have you done plan of action and milestones before? Yes. And as a matter of fact, I've done hundreds of them. And we normally would do them. They had to do with AU controls, which are event logging. We had some issues with event logging because we had just transitioned to this other system. And when we transitioned, we broke a lot of our event logging. We had to configure them. So we just kept catching those over and over again. So a lot of times we would just explain, we would justify why it's not done. I would get into meetings with the subject matter experts that had to turn on the auditing. And then we would talk to the security operations center to make sure that the logging is in compliance with our requirements for logging. And we'd close it out once that logging was put into the scene that we were using. So you would just break it down, all the things that you're doing. Like what they want to know is if you have done it before and how you've done it, and your communication skills are being shown on display. Your level of knowledge of that framework is being shown, and how much experience you have in that particular thing are all being shown. And that's what you're trying to do in the GRC interviews. Okay, I'm gonna kind of try to go through these real quick. Somebody said, I have no degree, no experience, just certs, and I've been cooked. I have a boot camp as well. Got to get experience as much as possible. I would say get experience in your local area, but you have to have IT knowledge. Like before you get into the field, before you can get your foot in the door, you got to have the knowledge first. There's no exceptions. You have to have the knowledge first. Let me see. Somebody said, JM said, WGU, certs, help desk, job equals experience. Okay, let me see. Going through these. Your opinion, can I get an entry-level job with just a cybersecurity bootcamp or Security Plus certification? Not impossible, but highly improbable. I'm just being completely honest with you. What you can do is, I'm not telling you don't search for one. Look for jobs. You can put your resume out there, your profile out there, and apply for local IT jobs. It's possible, but improbable just to go off of a boot camp and a Security Plus certification. That said, if you don't have any other options, try to get some kind of experience under your belt, be it freelancing, doing freelance work. If your skills are good, you can do some freelance work and put that on your skill set. You can at least do labs and projects where you're setting up networks and doing all this kind of stuff. Is it possible? It is. The thing is, getting in the door it's going to be difficult. Is all I'm saying. It's going to be difficult to do it with just those things. It is possible, but it's going to be hard. Is what I'm saying. There's a few people I met with no experience who did get jobs. That's what I'm saying. It's not impossible, but you can do it. But you're gonna have to have a very strong grasp of information technology and get your foot in the door and entry. Do not be picky. If the first job you do, it's not gonna pay a lot, but if you can get your foot in the door, that's the very first step in a long line of steps of getting yourself of leveling up. You can level up very quickly in IT if you have the mindset to do it. Meaning you don't give up. Alex says, just passed the Security Plus and have a degree. What projects do you recommend that I do for a GRC analyst? Learn as much network, learn about local area networks, wide area networks, IP addressing, IP addresses, setting up Wi-Fi networks. Learn, put together, set up operating systems like from scratch. Set up operating systems from scratch, like install operating systems, not just Windows, but also include like Linux. Learn command line interface, and learn the basics of what cloud technology is. The deeper you go into these subjects, the better. Software engineering, you could do that, but that's not absolutely necessary. But learn as much as you can. But the main thing is going to be networks, command line interface, how operating systems work with hardware, how applications work on operating systems. Those are like the main things. And the reason why I say this is because this is the background. It's going to help you as a GRC analyst to understand when things go wrong, why it did, if you understand the basis of IT. Cyber ain't oversaturated, but heavily clearance based. Therefore, the roles don't require. Okay, so there are roles that don't require a clearance, but they are gonna. But all of them are gonna. Most are gonna have a background check. Background check is not a clearance. A lot of people think that though they put those things as synonymous, it's not the same thing. They're two separate things. Background check is not a clearance. A clearance is for top secret, secret. Background check could be called a public trust, but it's not a clearance. Officially not. The kind of people put them together, but it's not the same thing. But is it difficult to get into cybersecurity? It's not easy. They will have a background check. It's not all clearance based. Hello, can you tell me about CloudStrike software bug issues? We talked about that a little earlier. Great conversation. You rock. Thank you so much for that, Jada. Appreciate that. Your opinion. Can I get an entry level? Okay, I already talked about that one. ATS. We already talked about that. Hey, Bruce. Can you let some folks know that I've been, I've seen some Stig Viewer videos on video for free. Okay. Yeah, there's some, oh man. For those who don't know, a STIG is a security technical implementation guide, which is a lot of government, especially Department of Defense, uses to make their systems more secure, be they server or major applications, workstations. They use what's called a STIG viewer, and you can actually download that for free on the sites, but also there's a bunch of YouTube videos that walk you through how to use it. What's better, cybersecurity degree or boot camp? Cybersecurity degree by a lot. What can you get? Okay, somebody's asking different. Okay, is 701 going to be much different than a 601 to your knowledge? Are you talking about, you're talking about Security Plus or Network Plus? Which one is on 701? I don't remember. I haven't taken that certification in a long time. You must be talking about Security 701. Yeah, 701 Security Plus. I'm not sure. I'm not taking that in a long time. What's the differences of that? Every possible information is given while you're doing taxes. Yeah, true. I'm 9 classes away from my cybersecurity degree. Does that hinder my chances? Like I said, right now, what you need to do while you're in school is get as much experience as you can. And school is a great place to do it. Working student programs, Internships, apprenticeships, apply right now while you can. It's not too late. I am a 2-year sysadmin, managed least privilege, and I have a cybersecurity background, bachelor's. Where do I start? Also, I do threat monitoring. You're already there, brother. Like, all you gotta do is put it on your resume. You are there. You are doing what people are wanting to do. Now, if you're trying to level up, the time is now. Like what you okay, here's a couple things you can do. It depends on what path you want to take because there's several paths you can take. You can go into cloud, you can go into security, or you can go into management. The reason why I mentioned those three is because those ones are going to be at least a 15% increase in whatever you're doing right now. A 15% or more increase in whatever you're doing. However much you make right now, these are specializations that are in high demand. Now, if you go into a cloud, you want to go for what's called an AWS. I think it's called ACP, but it's an AWS cloud certification from Amazon. And get that one if you're going into cloud. Learn as much as you can and get experience doing cloud. Like set up instances of cloud instances, put that shit on your resume. As soon as you listen on your resume, you will get contacted. With your background being in sysadmin, you'll pick it up very quick because it's not really any different from what the shit you're doing already. And you're doing threat monitoring on top of that, then you can specialize in cloud security. So that right there is gonna immediately open up a lot of doors. Now let's talk about compliance, governance, risk, and compliance. That's another direction you can go. It's going to give you a specialization that's going to be 15% or more raise. So for this one, whatever you happen to be doing right now, I guarantee you're using some kind of framework. You need to figure out what framework you're using. Normally in IT, part of organizations, they absolutely ignore regulations, frameworks, standards, all that shit's ignored. But I guarantee you the organization is using one of these things. I don't know which one. I don't know what industry you're in. I don't know, but I could tell you, you are using one. You got to figure out which one it is and put that shit on your resume because you're already implementing it. It could be CIS version 8. It can be NIST 800. It can be NIST cybersecurity framework. If you're in healthcare, it's HIPAA. You're using one of these things. You got to list it on your resume. Now, what is GRC? Anytime you created a policy, helped with a policy, if you've written a SOP, a standard operating procedure, if you've helped train, if you've helped management, if you've done vulnerability management, you've done all these things. You've got to put it on your resume. But the framework, there's a couple keywords you need on your resume. You've already, the thing is, you've already done a lot of this shit. So what's going to help you is getting a Security Plus. It's going to back you up for this. So I would go for a Security Plus. Security Plus. You could also do a CISSP. I would probably start with Security Plus, but it's based off what your knowledge level is. So frameworks. You got to list frameworks on your resume because that's what GRC people are looking for. They want to know if you know the framework and if you're able to implement it. To know the framework, all you got to do is read it. If you're in PCI DSS, if you're in the retail sector, read what it is. Just go to there's a main website for PCI DSS. There's a main website for HIPAA. There's a main website. Google it. It's there. It's free. Read through it. Buy a book on it. $20. Buy the book. Read about it. I guarantee you, if you are in that industry, PCI DSS is retail, government. If you do any kind of government work, you're doing NIST 837, NIST 800-37. That's what you're doing. Or you're doing NIST cybersecurity framework. If you're in financial sector, doing your threat monitoring and doing CVE remediations, and you're in the financial sector, you're doing Sarbanes-Oxley or PCI DSS or some kind of combination of those things. And there's several other regulations for that one. you get my drift. Whatever industry you're in, you have some kind of regulations that you're using to do the organization is using those policies to implement the threat monitoring, to implement the security controls, all that stuff. Put it on resume because they want to know that you are implementing. You know what the core regulation is, and you're implementing it. Thing is, you're already implementing it. You just gotta know what you're implementing. So that's how you get into GRC. The other one I mentioned was management, my least favorite one. But you will get a 15% raise or more if you get in management. How do you do it? So management, they are the ones who really are looking for some kind of degree. So you said you have a bachelor's of security, cybersecurity bachelor's degree. So that's good. It's a good start. So normally they want a master's degree, but they it depends on the organization. Some will take a bachelor's degree. So you're not in a bad place. You want to do like a supervisory role. If there's a way that you can level up with some kind of supervisor role, that's a great entry point into becoming management. Supervisor is not management, but it's like a junior management position. They want to see if you can take a little bit more responsibility and you do peer reviews and reports on the actual people that are working under you, and you do that for a while, and it's going to take some time, but then they'll start trusting you with more and more responsibilities, and pretty soon you are officially in a management type role, fully management type role. So those are the three options you can take that are going to upgrade you 15% or more increase in whatever you happen to be doing. Since you do threat monitoring, you might even want to consider doing pen testing because you pick that up really fast. What is the best entry level to mid-level certification pursuit? What is the best entry to a mid-level certification to pursue? Well, I can tell you the best mid-level. I don't know what you mean by mid-level. So entry level certificate. There's entry level beginner certifications, mid-level I guess you would mean intermediate or professional certifications, and then you've got expert level certifications. Um, and I'm trying to understand your. I'll just interpret it the best I can. What's the best entry to a mid? I'd say it depends on what you're trying to do because there's certifications that focus on many different areas. So if you're trying to do pen testing, the best entry level in my opinion, don't be mad at me, all you pen testers out there, but CEH is probably the best entry level to um, to that one. GPen's probably better than that, but that one's really expensive. So CEH is probably the most economical one to do. Um, if you're trying to go into, and then from CEH you would go to like an OSCP, right? I mean, there's somebody's on here. Jada's on here. She could probably tell you better than me. She does this. That's not my profession, but from what I've seen, the most marketable one would be CEH, and then go to a higher level one. Like they have a couple Kali Linux ones you can do, and then go to OSCP. But there's a couple other ones that are probably better than that. But CEH also has some tiered ones that you can do. If you were trying to do like general cybersecurity, probably be Security Plus would be the best one. Security Plus, and then eventually like either SSCP or a CISSP would be your intermediate. If you're trying to do cloud is hot. So cloud, you would go there's a few different directions you can go with that one. Cloud, I would advise you to go to AWS Cloud Practitioner. That's their lowest level, entry level one, and then go and specialize from there, build up on their tiered certification list. There's other cloud certifications you could take too. ISC2 Squared has one, which I think I want to say it's intermediate. And then there's another cloud certification. It's pretty good. Google has a cloud certification too. I know I'm forgetting one. Okay, let me see. Can I get a security clearance alone without a sponsor? I had an interview with TechWoke, Chris at TechWoke. Just if you're on YouTube, go to Tech. You type in TechWoke, and then he's got him and I did an interview, and I was asking him about it, and that's exactly what he did. He got a security clearance alone. He worked for another organization. I think he was like a security guard or something. I can't remember what in the interview he told me. I just don't remember. But he said he was a security guard in the DMV area, which is DC, Virginia, Maryland. Where they have a bunch of jobs that will give you a clearance while you're working there, and then he was able to go to another job with that clearance. So yes, you can do it, but you have to work some other job. Let me see, getting through these questions. Oh man, I made it to the bottom. Awesome. Great info. My industry deals with HIPAA. I've assisted the government compliance in medical. This helps. Oh my God, dude, you're in a great position, bro. You're in a great position. Yeah, it's HIPAA. For you, it's HIPAA. And then actually, since you're in the healthcare industry, like I told other people, like what you should do is there's a specific certification that you should do. And it is called the HC. The HC. I can never remember the freaking acronym for it. I apologize. But it's the reason why I know it's good is because number one, it's from the ISC squared, and they're very good at marketing certifications. Very good at marketing certification. Every certification they do ends up on some government list of which ones that they want you to get. They're very good at what they do. They're very good at marketing certifications. Okay, so here it is right here. It's called the Healthcare Information Security and Privacy Practitioner, the HCISSP certification. That's the one you should get. You should really look into what I'm saying, because that right there in your position, what you're already doing, you're in the healthcare industry, this right here would level you up. And Jada says Microsoft has some good courses and certifications with hands-on labs as well. Yeah, Microsoft has really good vendor level certifications. They're one of the top vendors out there. That's why. And SANS course, yeah, SANS courses, yeah, SANS are really good. They're expensive, but if you can get your company or whoever pay for them, yeah, they're going to be worth your time. All right, guys, my phone's about to die. I am recording on the wrong channel, and for YouTube, and I've been talking for over 2 hours, so I think I am done. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. Appreciate it. Cheers, everybody. Appreciate you. I will talk to you guys next time. I'm gonna really try to make this up to my YouTube audience. Man, that sucks. I make it a point to do this every week specifically for YouTube, and I messed up by putting it on the wrong stream. I'm bothered by it. That's why I keep repeating myself. All right, guys, that's it. I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everybody, and hasta mañana. Maybe hasta mañana.